Hey everybody, welcome to Wacky Weekend Lite, the Artie show without Artie, here on my channel as it is each Saturday. I want to welcome you all into the chat. Got just a little bit planned and then we'll maybe open it up and let people come in. Let me see whom all we have here. And right now on my list, we have Andy81E, we have Hot Dog Pilot Andy, Greg from Midsummer Railway, Randall Ellison. I think I saw Steve, 87 PSAP was here. And Hot Dog Pilot, I think I mentioned. Yeah, I am going to talk about that. And we'll move on from it. Mark from Zantech was here, and to all others coming in, welcome in, welcome in. John Benicki, hello. My day did not start off well. Hey, Pete and Sue, thanks for joining us. Hello to you. I don't want to belabor a point, but I do want to clarify some things. I was not a close friend with Paul Bottrell. Paul Bottrell passed away from cancer, and I found out from his sister. She basically went on his Facebook and just sent out a message to all his contacts. Okay, so it wasn't a direct contact to me. It was just anybody in his contact book. Paul lost his fight with cancer. Paul and I did communicate off of YouTube, but usually it was he would post a picture of something he was doing. I'd say, oh, wow, that looks cool. Or a new photograph he took, and wow, that's really nice. And he would say, thank you, Anthony. And then I might comment on something and he'd give it a thumbs up or say, oh, that's cool, Anthony. But it's not like we sat and talked about life, family, friends, kids, like I do with a lot of my YouTube friends. Paul was special to Joyce and me, maybe even more so in retrospect. But when COVID hit and there were all these chats in the UK, and at the time, I really wasn't following American channels in 2020. I really had not started watching American channels. When I got onto YouTube, I was watching German channels. And then I found some of the German channels to be a little too persnickety. I wasn't making friends. People would say, hello, Anthony. And the language wasn't a barrier, but, I always felt like to the American people, I wasn't doing good enough. And I just wasn't making inroads, and I stumbled across an American channel or a British channel that was doing Miracle and Jim from Hover Motion. And from there, I discovered all these UK channels and the chat started up and it was all cool. And Paul Bottrell was part of that group. He didn't do live streams, but he was at all the live streams and he was just always friendly, always nice. But when I started my live streams, he was there from day one. But even before I started my live streams, he was always being very positive and friendly on my channel. Nice video. That was really cool. I really liked how you did that. I love the Ghost of 2015, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when I started doing the live streams, he was there from day one. And he didn't chat a lot ever, but he would say hello and he would talk about the topics. He definitely chatted more. But when I started transitioning out of the live streams, as I started making the first real batch of friends I made on YouTube and people like Randall Ellison, when I started the parody songs, he was a huge fan of those. Even the ones I thought my singing was horrible, he was like, that was awesome, Anthony. That was funny. Really loved it. And then when Joy started singing, he was always very supportive. And then when we started Matt Clark, he loved Matt Clark. That's really when we started bonding on Facebook. He would talk to me on Facebook about Matt Clark. Hey, Possum Bayou, how are you? James Dundas Junction. So hope you're resting and feeling better, James. Going through your own. And did I see Willie Frau Von Don was here? Did I see that? K-Guns. So, but he was really one of the first and most consistent people that supported me very vociferously as I started transitioning my channel into what it's become. He supported the live streams. He loved the Matt Clark and the parody songs, and he let us know. And so when we went to Getz, we did not know Paul was going to be there. And this is now Joyce talked to him a lot more than even I did, because he came up and approached Joyce, and Joyce did not put name and who he was together. But when I finally came in and started talking to him, it's like, oh, Paul, oh my God, Paul, it's you. Oh my God, and I'm thanking him for all the positive support he said. And there was a lot of conversation. I won't share it all with you, but there were two things he said that really hit home. First of all, he said, we said, how are you doing? Because we knew he had cancer, and he had told on Facebook that it had returned last year. He had it, kind of went into remission, and it was back. And his phrase was, I said, well, how are you doing? He says, it's not going well. I'm losing the battle. Cancer is winning. And we were like, oh, and he says, I have to go in for treatments. And so, of course, we wished him, all the best and hope. But he clearly knew it was the beginning of the final downward spiral. But then he says to us, he says, I didn't know if I was going to go to Getz or not. But when I saw your live stream on Friday, and that you were in fact there, I came. And he said, I wanted to meet you and Joyce. And looking back now, because he came into a couple of my chats in November. He did come into the chat basically and just said hello. But it wasn't like we talked a lot on Facebook. I had a couple of posts where he would put a comment, and he posted a couple of things that he went to. And I was like, oh, great to see you getting out. But basically he was like seeing all his friends for the last time is what it seemed to come down to, because he did message us last week, Thursday, Friday, not this past Thursday, Friday, but the previous week, Thursday, Friday. He messaged us and he said, because we had commented on one of his pictures, and he said, it's not good. I'm probably going back in. And his phrase was, for the last time. And so he posted on Monday on Facebook that he was in a hospital, not hospice, but a hospital. Apparently they were trying to do an emergency surgery. And he posted that and said, that was the last communication we had. It just said, it's not good, people. And that was the last post on Facebook from him, that he was in the hospital. And he says, it's not good. And then this morning, his sister sent out the message to all his Facebook contacts. And I had just woken up, gotten out of the shower, and was just getting dressed when I was checking my Facebook notices, and that first one I saw. And, I did oh, shit. Pardon the language, kids. But that's what I said. And Joyce said, what? And I said, Paul died. And Joyce's initial reaction from my reaction was, Paul McCartney? I was like, no, Paul Bottrell from Getz. And she said, oh. And we both had a moment. And I was upset, okay? He wasn't a drinking pal. I was not nearly the friends with him that I am with many of you in here that I talk to much more consistently. He really was an acquaintance, but the thing is, he was such a positive supporter of my channel, especially early on when I wasn't sure where I was going and what I wanted to do and whether people would accept some of the changes. He was just a positive guy. And so, he was just always so supportive. but you just take it for granted. You know, it's not like, oh, Paul, hey, how are you doing this week? Here's what happened to me. Here's what happened to you. I'm doing that now with people. I still find it very hard. There's a lot of you that call and text each other. I wish I was calling and texting all of you every day. But yeah, it was shocking. So, hey, Rabel Bell, how are you? I mean, and of course, anybody who knows me, okay, I lost my sister to cancer when she was 39 and had 2 young kids. 59 to 96, 37. She had just turned 37 when she died. And she fought melanoma for about 6 years. So, hey, Monsville, how are you? You know, so, and anybody who knows me knows I talk about it a lot. There was a group of 5 of us, and I'm the last one. There was a group of 3 that were really tight, and then 2 ancillary guys. And beginning 2020 to 2022, November of 2022, it's been an Agatha Christie novel. Mark dies, Bill dies, and then the 2 closest, Dean and John, all died. There were 5 of us, and I'm the last one standing. All the various forms of cancer. So I'm very supportive. Richard Brown from Trains in the Attic, I got to know him very well and have supported his channel. And he lost a brother to cancer at a very young age. And I have supported his family's cancer group. So, you know, I don't want people to think like, oh, this is my best friend. It's sad. I am sad about it. And in some ways I'm sad because I didn't know him as well as I could have or should have. But he was just such a positive supporter of my channel when I didn't have a lot of really personal positive stuff the way I do now. I've got a lot of people, you know, I go into a live stream a year and a half ago and somebody that's in here now is like, oh, you got to go to Anthony Dodge's live stream. It's the best live stream on the web. And I was just, oh my God, why would somebody say that? But so thank you, you know. So anyhow, and of course I've got, oh, you had the colonoscopy, right? Okay. But I've got friends that are in this chat room now that either they or their loved one are fighting various cancers. So it's, you know, I don't know personally what you're going through. Unfortunately, I root and fear for you guys because you guys are my friends. You are my closest ones. So that's the end for now of the maudlin stuff. But I just, you know, I just felt the need because at the time I was notified, nobody else I knew on YouTube, the hundreds of channels I know, and maybe some people that would have remembered Paul, nobody said anything. So I thought I would put it out there. And I saw a little later, I think Robin Grace, and then I went to their chat, but Robin Grace put out a video a couple hours after mine mentioning it, and they were talking about it. And so it was nice that other people said they knew him and had talked to him. It's, you know, it's hard to say it's a big loss in the community because Paul had withdrawn from the community the last couple of years. But he did, another thing he told us at Getz was that he still had watched every single video, loved the parody songs, loved all of Matt Clark, that he was still watching all my stuff. He just doesn't comment anymore because a lot of times he's on a tablet or the phone and he just doesn't want to type. Many of you understand that. Indeed. You got to enjoy it every day as you can because nothing is guaranteed and you don't know when the big change is going to happen. It just, you know, it wasn't something, you know, nobody ever wants to wake up and deal with it, but I am an empathic and empathetic person, especially if it's somebody I kind of know, and worse, if it's somebody I kind of know who had always been nice to me and I've been nice to them. But you go, my goodness, there was ground there to really plant and grow a good friendship. And you just kind of, well, it's just somebody I know on social media. You know, that's why this year going to Getz, well, last year now, going to Getz was so important because it was social media. So anyhow, like I said, end of that, let's, I just want to share a little bit to you. As many of you know, I posted a video. Hey, Kyle Stevens, hello. Joe Rader, hello. PKW, hello. Thanks for editing it out. But anyhow, as many of you know, I did get a new locomotive and posted a video. It came out this morning, and then I posted the video. So I think one video kind of overshadowed the other. But I did get a new locomotive, which I am very, very excited for. So let me, I think it's, no, not that one, that one. Well, no, let's go to this one. You can see I've got it set up. Phone cam. So there we go. There's the new guy right there. There's the new guy. Of course, the phone cam is about 3 seconds behind. But that is the new guy in all its glory. Very excited. You'll see it running on my Friday live stream. And there's my other Class 249 over here. So that's the one I got last year and the one I just got. But very excited about those. I got another train coming. That's right. Well, right now I don't have another train coming. I am done with trains. I have not pre-ordered anything, in the last pre-order from last year is not coming out till November or December of 2025. So I've got months. I have nothing specifically on order. So right now I don't have another train coming. I'll just have to wait and see. So I just, American, as far as I know, American started doing this in 2017, 2018, where they started releasing popular locomotives, but in this black with red trim livery. And I'll just show you the ones that I know existed. Let's see, where are we at? Previews. I think it is in previews. So, for example, a couple of years ago, no, 4 years ago, whoops, I'm going to have to move that one up to the front. I don't even know what image that is. Well, maybe I'll just leave it here. You guys hopefully can see that. But in the upper left-hand corner, and then you can see larger next to it, is a Class 193 Vectron. They released that like 4 years ago. The next year, they actually released... There's no way I'm going to bring that out. I have these all in the wrong order, I guess. Let me see. Would that be image 9? Let's see if I... There we go. Okay, now it's up front. But this is a class, this is a Vossloh. It's a Class G2000. And this is one, when they released it, I thought, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that one. Hey, Attila Varga, hello. Hello, Attila. But yeah, that was one of the early ones where I said I kind of like that, but I just could not talk myself into springing for it. And then the first one I truly considered ordering and buying was this one. So I'll bring that forward. Was the Class 66. Can I bring it the rest of the way forward? There we go. The Class 66 here. I just thought, I was so tempted because I wanted a Class 66. I still want a Class 66. And I was so tempted for that one. I suppose it just looked, to be honest, it just looks like a Vossloh. I'm so used to Vosslohs in Europe. It looks a little bit like two American ES44s backed into each other and squished together. Well, yes, you guys have a Class 66. Willie has the Class 66. I have yet to break down and buy one. I should have gotten the HGK one because I really like that livery. I could have gotten this one, but there was another much more expensive train. It was like I either get this one or I get the ICE4. or not the ICE4. Which one was it? Yeah, it was the ICE4. The ICE4 I finally got. So I either pay for the ICE4 or I pay for this one. And so I passed on this one because this was expensive. I can still buy this one. There are shops that have it, but it's $430 American dollars. And that's just a little steep for me for a locomotive. So there was that one. And that's just another picture of it. That's just another angle of it, which actually makes it just more attractive. All that black and red and just a little white bar in the front, I kind of like that. But the Class 66. And then they have released, this was 2 years ago, they released a shunter. This little guy, a Class 294 shunter there. So that's kind of, I'm not into shunters. I really am not into shunters. I've inherited about 7 of them from Herb. 8 of them, 9, 10, whatever it's at. And I've digitized a couple of them, but I'm just not a big shunter guy. But again, that's kind of cool. There is a guy that's on one of my American Facebook pages that has every single American store model, as these are called. These are called American store models, and they're very rare. And they're probably a 25 to 40% markup of the same thing in a standard paint job, just because they're only available through specific American stores. You cannot buy them anywhere. You either have to buy them, you have to buy them at a specifically American outlet store. And then there's like 7 stores in North America that are listed as American stores that can order these and get them in. So I pre-ordered it through Renaud's, which is just near Chicago, which is the closest and biggest American store to me. So yeah, there was that one. And then with the cars, they have been releasing different types of freight, which I didn't buy, and now I wish I did. This one came out 3 years ago. It's a flatbed, and it has a 20-foot container and a 40-foot container. I really like that one. This is the one that came out technically last year, but was released this year. It's actually the same flatbed. It's the same exact flatbed as this one. Same exact flatbed, but it has 3 20-foot special containers rather than the 40 and the 20. This is one that came out for 2023, but I actually bought some of these. I bought a bunch of them at a shop in Columbus. The guy had some in stock, and so I bought 4 of those, actually 3 of them, and then I bought one more on eBay. And then here is one I'm desperate to find, and nobody has them. There is no secondary market, not German eBay, Austrian eBay, Belgian eBay. Nobody has these in stock available. These were released about 6 years ago, and they are impossible to find, the double 20-footers. And I really would like 3 of those. I just think they would make a great. And then I can find this one on eBay, but they want $90 for it plus $10 shipping, the double 40-footer. Am I a quintessential mainline running modeler? I don't know. I run my trains, and I've been told by Germans, Americans, and UK guys that nothing about my layout is prototypical, which I don't care. I just like trains running. I like trains in motion. So I guess all 3 of my lines are main lines. I have 6 lines, and they're probably all main lines. Although I guess lane 6 is like a secondary line. And then now and then I run old trains, and then it becomes a heritage line. So anyhow, that is that. So I thought I would talk a little bit about that, and I'm sorry if I. Yeah, it's tough to buy new locos. Prices are killer. Some people buy second market. Unfortunately, I tend to be very modern era, and you can't really buy old style locos of modern era. You know, you can't find a 1980s cheaper version of an ICE3. You buy the new ones. Anyhow, Does it need to be prototypical? Of course not. I never catered to prototypical. But that doesn't stop people from telling me. Okay. For example, I posted a parody song video earlier this week. That's Entertainment, the parody of, and somebody decided to, on that video, announce that my layout needs catenary and signals and blah, 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 blah to make my layout proper. And I'm like, first of all, this is a parody song, and half the videos you're seeing, 90% of the videos in that song are not my layout. And secondly, I don't need signals and catenary wire on my layout. Will I put them on? My answer, as always, I think everybody should be able to recite it from rote memorization now. Maybe someday. My answer to any time somebody says, when are you going to do this? The answer is maybe someday. So yeah, I really do like they're called the Miracle Store models. They've been released almost every year since 2019. They did go a year where they didn't, a year or two, because there's like 6 locos out. They do have one for next year, which is going to be a steam locomotive, a little steam shunter, and it's a steamer and a shunter, so that's sort of like too nah for me. So anyhow, I am going to go ahead and post, and people can come up and join the chat as they will. We all know Rule 1. Every modeler knows Rule 1, but many of the same modelers who say Rule 1, they don't believe in Rule 1. They no, that's it. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. You've got to have this or that. We all say Rule 1, but we don't all live by it. It would be better if the minute you start something like that, you've thrown Rule 1 out. It would be better if you've just thrown out Rule 1. It's my layout. I'll do what I want and when I want and how I want. Which Tom just popped in? Tom's Miracle Train Layout. Hello, Tom. Welcome in. All right, we're going to bring up Randall has joined us. Always glad to see Randall. Stuck in Kansas, as it were. And your little dog, too. How you doing, Randall? Are you there? Are you hearing me? I'm not hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Very low, but I am hearing you now. Are you hearing me?
Oh, well. Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, okay, good.
So.
Hey, Train Buff Boy Corey, welcome in.
Hey, Corey.
Although there's a topic to discuss too, but we won't get into it live. Thought you were going to bed. We had audio for a second. We should have it back now. It's one of those things. I am in a situation where I'm fortunate I could order this, although really when I ordered it, I was in a better situation than I was when it finally came in. That's the 2024 model, and it came out for Christmas of 2024 over in Europe. I noticed guys were posting right before Christmas. Look what just came in. They just got us. Like, okay, we'll be good in a couple of seconds, in a week or so, and it still took 5 weeks before it showed up over here. And then last week, I was seeing guys on the East Coast and stores on the East Coast where we got it. And I'm like, okay, so Renaud should be getting it soon. And it still took another week or so. So what's up in Kansas, Randall?
Well, it's been pretty dead the past 3 days. I hadn't worked since, let's see, this is Saturday, so Thursday morning, I think. So.
Wow.
Or Wednesday morning.
So not only are you stuck in Kansas, you're stuck in Kansas doing nothing.
Pretty
and
much.
Let's face it.
We'll see what happens. we'll see what
There's not a
happens
lot
tonight and tomorrow moving forward. So
let's face it, there's not a lot to do in Kansas.
unfortunately, no.
Tom says, where did I get mine from? I pre-ordered it from Renaud's last year. When they announced it, I pre-ordered it. I looked, and Renaud's was the cheapest I could get it. Even other American stores and German shops, it was more expensive to buy it in Germany than from Renaud's. Renaud's gave it a fair discount, so it was actually cheaper to get it. It's if Lipa had carried it, but Lipa doesn't have the deal. Lipa is not a American store, so over in Europe, Lipa can't carry it. All right, in the basement. Football game, Casey and Buffalo. Indeed.
So Kyle, I don't have ruby red slippers. All I got are these. So.
All right, Mark from Zantec is in the basement. We'll let him join up. But have you, before we bring Mark up, Randall, have you been able to? I know you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere and there's not much to do, but has there been any sort of a hobby shop or anything you've been able to get to while you're there? No.
There is nothing like that. Like, I go to Dalhart and the closest thing they got is a Hobby Lobby at, I forget the name of the town now, but it's between I'm thinking of the wrong place. It's between here and Harrington, Kansas. There's a Hobby Lobby.
Yeah,
so
and see, Hobby Lobbies here don't even carry model train stuff.
Mm-mm. And what the ones that does, they carry only Bachmann stuff. So
yeah, and like Menards, like a lot of cities, especially down south and out west, Menards carries a lot of model railway stuff. Here, they only have it at Christmas.
That's the same here too.
Okay.
That way. I think you're in. If there is one here, I don't think there is, but
all right.
they only carry them around Christmas too. So
town called Blind Man's Bluff. There you go. All right, we're gonna bring Mark up. Mark, if you're listening, we're bringing you up.
Hello, so Wacky. How you doing?
Hey, Mark.
How you doing, Randall? You all right?
I'm still hanging
Can
out
you hear me?
Living the dream.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's got a bit blowy here these last couple of days. Well, where I've been, it's not been too bad. Thought I'll get me a little. Can you see it going around the track? Visible? Little Japanese Eisen Railway tram car on the main line.
Yeah, Corey, the link's in the chat, I think, still.
Somebody wants the link?
Yeah, Train Buff Boy 47 is asking if he can join.
Okay, Joyce is about to make a cameo.
Hi, Joyce.
Hello, Joyce.
She's doing a walkthrough. Walk on? That's a walk off, that is.
Walk on by.
But so yeah, it was a lot of fun getting this. But the problem is now that I have it, I regret not starting to collect these sooner. But I'm not going to go back and buy the other ones. First of all, they're very hard to find. They're very expensive, and out of the bunch, I guess I'm happy I got this one, which is a class 249. Nope, Joyce is checking up on the Tree, Attila. Joyce doesn't check up on me. She doesn't have to check up on me. Sorry about that. I can't help it. I've got that voice. It's what made me a good teacher. I never needed a microphone. I project. I could probably do this live stream without a microphone. Just tell everybody to put your ears out. Now, of course, if you're in the UK or Australia, you might have to wait a few hours for the wind to carry my voice over there. So the delay might not be great, but you know. Yeah, I technically I live half on a pension because Joyce is still working. I can't do it that way. I make that woman work. Get to work, woman. Get to work. She can bring.
Well, you know what you're saying about some stuff getting quite expensive. This is His Imperial Majesty's coach from the E655 set by Kato.
Okay.
I've just seen one on eBay.
Is he still an Imperial Majesty since you don't really have the Empire anymore?
Yes, he's still known as His Imperial Majesty. Yeah, I've just seen one of these on.
I have as much of an empire as he does. He's got a kingdom, but he doesn't have an empire anymore. I have as much of an empire as he does.
Well,
I don't.
This particular coach, I paid about 80 quid for it, which is about the time about $100. I've just seen one on eBay for £117.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, just so I can have more fun, you know what's special about that coach in real life is that they had to make it 6 inches wider to accommodate his ears. The Brits will get that joke. The rest of you will go, huh?
And that's
rather big ears.
I don't know if Corey's meaning he's in the basement or what. He says I'm in the stream, so.
Oh no, he's I'm sorry, he's in the basement.
Oh, okay.
Or we should be fancier and call it the green room. Everybody always calls it the basement. You know, this is a celebrity show, so he's in the green room.
Well, on my stream, we can just call it the outhouse. I mean, it's pretty much what it is.
Well, you know what the outhouse is over here, don't you?
It's an Arkansas thing.
It's the same thing here too.
Hey, Corey.
All right, Corey, you're on stage. How you doing, Corey? Welcome in.
Good, how are you? Okay. Hold on. I'm not supposed to show my face on YouTube, so I gotta figure out how to fix this.
Well, you are a youngin' in this. I don't know how young you are because we do have a 16 and 17 and over policy.
I'm 19.
Oh well, then you're fine.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put this thing down.
Oh,
this is my dad's layout.
Oh, that's nice.
There's an impressive layout, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad's been working on this.
Let's enlarge that. Your dad is an all-star. That is an impressive layout.
Thanks.
Hey, Corey.
Yeah.
I saw something Athearn just announced the other day. I may have even told you or Peyton one about it, but they're doing a 440 steam engine. That you just showed a minute ago reminded me of it. They're going to do Frisco as one of the road names. I think they're doing an unlettered one, and they're doing like 4 or 5 others. I think UP's one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Randall said that.
Yeah. Now I got to interrupt everything. I've got to interrupt everything. Being the main host here, I have to interrupt just for a minute. Andy at 81E says that people from all over the world watching Joyce do the laundry in the background. If you guys are watching Joyce in the background do laundry, then we obviously are failing in our job here. If you guys are watching my wife in the background doing laundry, this just don't tell me it's all about model trains, because we got trains here, a layout there, a layout down there. I'm talking about new trains. You're like, hey, look at that woman in the background doing laundry.
And wait, can I say something
Randall.
Failing at her job would be watching me do laundry. That would be failing at her job.
Oh, God.
Well, we can always do that. It's laundry night on Wacky Weekend, everybody. It's laundry night. Welcome in. Because the other thing I've been doing is I have been adding all kinds of cameras to my OBS. I am now up to, I think, 20. Yeah. But I have now figured out I can add tablets as well as my phone, because that was the first camera I was doing when I was showing the where is it? Phone cam. So like that is off of my phone. And then I have this camera, which is my tablet. which is a mobile cam now. So I can put that anywhere I want. And then I have the other tablet, which is right here. And I could go, whoops, my finger's in the way now. But I could do anywhere. And then I just accidentally pulled the wire out, so it's not showing anything. Oopsie!
Corin, what's that orange locomotive, by the way? Is that in GLSE Freightliner colours?
That BNCF?
What?
The orange Bud locomotive. Is that GLSE and Wyoming Freightliner?
Oh, this?
Yeah, that one.
This is Providence and Worcester.
Oh, it's P&W.
Okay.
Ah, geez, we should have known that. Okay, I should have
Okay.
known that. Hey, Terry Elrond, how are you? Nice to have you here. And is there anybody else?
So the reason why I asked Corin is that we've got these.
So I can give you a little bit of history on that engine right there. Those are former Santa Fe B40-8Ws. Is what they are. They were originally built for Santa Fe. So I think P&W bought those from BNSF a while back. The real ones.
Randall, BNSF being the Burlington, Northern and Santa Fe, yes?
Yeah, that would be correct. That'd be the railroad I normally haul crews for, except here in Pratt, I'm hauling crews for Union Pacific. But normally I am on BNSF, and those originally were their engines that they inherited from Santa Fe, and then they sold them off, and P&W has them now. So,
You have to ask.
Oh,
Hey,
all day. I'm sorry to hear that, PK and W. Hopefully you feel better.
yeah, get well soon.
Sidetrack Sunday tomorrow. All right, you are on Sidetrack Sunday. That will be your second time on the show, right? I did pop in the first time, but we did have family over, and they stayed later than normal, so I wasn't quite as chatty active as I usually am on Sidetrack Sunday.
I gotta open that other one.
I was going to tell Hot Dog Pilot Andy, he was talking about the Athearn engine being $300. These particular steam engines that Athearn just announced, Andy, the retail price is right around $200, but obviously if you go to an online store, they're going to be far cheaper than that. I hadn't looked on Train World or Lombard to see what they are there, but they're going to be far cheaper there. I'd say probably 125 to 150. So.
And there's a B&O, and there is a Sioux line. That's
I gotta fix all these cars. I had a derailment.
Oops, that's not good.
You wash your car and do the laundry. Peter, I got an even better deal.
Well, we got plenty of that. Well,
Peter, you say you wash Sue's car and she does the laundry. Good deal for you. Joyce tends to, well, actually, we take the cars to an automated car wash, but Joyce cleans the insides of the cars. She gets out there and cleans them all out, vacuums, and so I got the double deal. I don't do the laundry or that. And the thing is, I have offered to do the laundry, and Joyce looks at me like, no. She doesn't like the way I fold. Joyce is a persnickety folder. She doesn't like the way I fold.
what?
Those are some interesting looking wagons there, Mark.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, just before you talk, let me ask something here. Hey, Northern and Southern Rail fan, are you who used to be Delmarva?
There's a four-wheeled
Cool.
grain hoppers.
Yeah, those are nice.
Back it up from the camera just a bit, because all we're seeing is a big gray blur. There we go. That's a hopper.
Yeah, they're grain hoppers.
Not an Australian hopper.
No.
Oh, I thought that was a semi-truck for a second.
I've got an Australian hopper right here. This is an Australian hopper.
Oh, there we go.
I still got them all from that joke video I did.
I've got quite a few. I mean, these are random.
Put that little short biscuit down.
How to fix all this? Oh no, the truck's fell off.
Yep. 41 years is awesome. So, okay. Yeah, I had videos pop up on my my feed yesterday and today, and it was Northern and Southern Rail fan. I'm like, that name doesn't sound familiar. And then I saw it somewhere, it said Delmarva on. I was like, oh, it's Delmarva, name change. You're rail fan in the north and south. That's why you changed name. That's fine. You did a lot of well, your name, isn't that Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, Delmarva? At least kangaroos don't stick to the tracks.
Oh gosh.
Not very, they don't very long, that's for sure. But that goes back for about 4 years. Somebody did a hopper challenge. There was a time on YouTube where the American, just as I was getting into the American channels, they were all doing challenges. So-and-so's doing this challenge. So-and-so's doing that challenge. So somebody did I remember the first one was Sparky did a caboose challenge. And my European trains don't have cabooses. They don't do cabooses. And so I did a joke one. And I just said, okay, so here's my caboose challenge. And then I cut to a picture of my tracks. And nothing's happening. Cut back to me going. And then I cut back to the track, and you start to hear crickets chirping. And then cut back to me going. And then I cut back to the track, and the crickets are chirping much louder. And then I cut back to me and go, oh, wait, that's right. I don't have any cabooses. Sorry. Better luck next time. And, and that began a line of them. So somebody did a hopper challenge, and I didn't have any hopper freight. I still don't. Well, no, I do have one coal hopper now that I got from Herb. So I did a thing where I took a bunch of flatbeds and put a bunch of kangaroos on them, but I did the video first. I did the answer video first, where I created my Australian cousin, Kenneth Clock Dodge, from Australia. And he did that little routine, which was funny. And yes, you are from Delaware. I've been in Delaware once. I went swimming in the, wading out into the ocean. We had just gotten into the ocean. I was getting ready to swim when they called us offshore because all these jellyfish were swarming in. And they kicked these little purplish, pinkish ones.
Are they the deadly ones?
Oh yeah, well we are well away from the wildfires. That's California, unfortunately. They have had drought conditions for years.
No, the jellyfish. Were they the deadly ones?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't visit my Australian cousin. I'm not sure he wasn't somewhere out in the outback riding the gon somewhere. Because that was the one joke in that video nobody got. He says, I'm just out here playing with my little model train, and it's the Gon, which is this big cross Australia passenger train. And, does the 4,000 miles or whatever across Australia. So he was busy. But I did see some of the kangaroos. I saw some of the hoppers up close. Yeah, I don't know if these were they were pinkish ones. They were little, but I didn't think they were the most dangerous one, but they were still dangerous. And so yeah, they called all the swimmers out of the water. Joyce and I were there with one of my nieces and one of my nephews. We went down to Virginia to visit her family that lives down there, her sister, her husband, and their kids. And we took their 4 little kids to the beach with us. No, we took the 2 older ones to the beach with us, and the 2 little ones stayed back. And their 2 older ones sunburned because we got them sunscreened once, but after they played in the water a bit, they didn't re-sunscreen, and they burned to a red crisp. Hey, Raymond Anthony. You just got here. Well, fortunately for you, we're still here. But people are running trains. I don't know. Do I feel like I should run trains?
Well, cool people run trains.
I really like that Markland engine, Anthony. That's a really nice model.
I'm in love with it. We're having a bromance right now. I do love all my trains. I'm like a kid with toys. They're shiny, they're bright and colorful and cool, and they do all kinds of cool things. And but yeah, this one, I'm so glad I ordered it and had the ability to order it. And I do like the little rake of matching freight cars, but I need more. This is too short a consist. I've got 4 of these containers, and then just 2 of these special transport containers. Of course, the camera is fuzzing out because things are moving. It'll take it a while to refocus. It's a little better. But yeah, very cool. Just very, very cool. I am quite tickled with them, shall we say. It was, and the thing is, running it in, it was so quiet. It was so quiet running it in. And that I had to keep looking over. I had to keep, because I was sitting here working on the computer. I was editing the first part of the video because I filmed part of it, and then while I'm running it in, I start editing the opening monologue and stuff, and then was watching YouTube videos while it was running in, and I had to keep looking up, like, is it running? It's really quiet. So yeah, that is. Let's see what Mark's got going on here. We'll put him up here. But I am like, one of the funniest things is Dave from Scott Rails, the Scott expatriate living in just outside of Toronto. I think he's in Hamilton. Is he in Mississauga or Hamilton? Yeah, he mentioned me a couple of times in videos last week. Hey, Dicey, Peyton Railfan is here. Awesome, welcome in. And Dirk from Southern Cross Rail System is here. Hello, hello. But he mentioned me for showing how to put OBS into StreamYard, doing that video, and was quite tickled with that. And then he mentioned me for that I had talked a couple of weeks ago in my live stream about I started doing multiple cameras on the layout. I started doing multiple cameras before I was live streaming, because putting cameras on the layout was a way to get angles, close-up angles that I otherwise couldn't get. So putting a camera over there or a camera over there was not so much to put it on display in a live stream. It was that I can't see the trains from that angle. I think it's a cool angle to see them from. So I put a camera there so I could look at it on the computer while running my trains. And then it just happened to be there. I had 6 cameras before I did my first live stream. Oh, and your funnel web spiders. Yeah, they have those in Australia too. And we have some variation of them. We have one poisonous spider in this part of where I live. We have Oh, Kyle's taking off. All right.
Yep.
Good night, Kyle. Get some sleep, man. We have the brown recluse spider is the one poisonous spider we have in this region. The black widow apparently is not found in this area. Although it's found north of us and south of us, it's not found in this area. We do not have black widows in this area. They are found beginning about 60 miles north of us and about 100 miles or so southwest of us, but there have been no reported black widow findings or bites, but brown recluses, a lot. But yeah, you guys have the red spiders. Yeah, the redback spider is basically a cousin. I mean, I don't know the direct genetic cladistics of them, but yeah, you guys have spider season now. That's why it was another boon for us. Like I was just watching a show, a video popped up and I decided to watch it, like Australia's 5 most dangerous venomous animals or whatever. And they were talking about the brown snake. And, you know, we went there and of course it wasn't really the season, but they're talking about how aggressive they are and blah, blah, blah. And yet Marty and the locals were telling us, if you see one, just let it pass. It's not after you. If you come running up to it or you go running away, it might see that as aggression or something. But if you just stop and let it, if you're walking down a path and you see one, just let it cross the path. But they're apparently so fast you can't even outrun them, that they can actually zip through the grass and stuff. But yeah, so yeah, I would not want to be in Australia during the high season when all the nasty things are out. You know, even the huntsman spider, don't need to walk outside and see one of those things suddenly, because they're all packed up really tight and then they come out and they're like a tarantula. Hi there. I thought I'd hide in your door handle, but since you've decided to stick your finger in there, and you're like, how did that big thing get in that little area? So welcome to the train show where we're talking venomous spiders and the brown snake of Australia. That's Wacky Weekend. We don't just talk trains. We're just here to try to chill and be silly. Yeah, webs everywhere. I do have to occasionally de-web. Spiders, for the most part, do not build on top of my layout, but they have been. I came down, it was 2 weeks ago, and right here next to me, right here, a spider was building a web very actively, and I had to evict him and explain to him, no, you do not build here. This is not your place. You are not welcomed here. And he was introduced to a vacuum cleaner.
Generally, down there where I normally live, they're like those little bitty spiders. I usually leave them alone because they're good at catching the flies and stuff.
Well, I don't allow flies and stuff down here either, so I don't need the spiders to remove them. But yeah, this is my spider remover. So like anytime I'm going to work under the table, the first thing I do is go down there with this and suck up all the cobwebs, because even if they're harmless, which they are, I do not enjoy a spider popping down on me while I'm working. Yeah, that's my favorite type of laundering, is money laundering. Yeah, a roommate. The panic was mega. Yeah. We occasionally get wasp and hornets will start trying to build nests around our house. But my biggest enemy are carpenter bees. I do not mess with bees. I leave bees alone. They're welcome to fly through my yard, visit my flowers, blah, blah, blah. I don't mess with bees. Carpenter bees get no sympathy. They are hunted down and killed because they burrow into the wood and they chew it up and eat it up. And once one moves in, they all start moving in. And they move in packs of 3 sisters. Boom, boom, boom. And the thing is, you go out on your deck and you look and you go, when did I drill that hole? Because they burrow perfect holes in your wood that looks like you took a drill. So you have to go, was I drilling on that recently? Oh, no, it's those stupid carpenter bees. Bees are essential to the environment, but a big argument could be made because carpenter bees are not pollinators. So I show them no mercy. I leave all other bees alone for that exact reason, Raymond, but carpenter bees get no pity because they're as bad as termites. They can destroy your wood structures very quickly. John, I don't know if anybody in this family likes spiders. I have a brother-in-law who will go catch spiders by hand and then walk them outside. And his one son does that too. They'll catch spiders and walk them outside. Nope, I tell the spiders, stay hidden and you're fine. Make an appearance where I don't want you, you're gone. We've got rules. They have to abide by these rules. I don't go outside and mess with them. They don't come inside and mess with me. Yeah, bumblebees we don't mess with, honeybees, any other brand of bee, but carpenter bees are they're destructive.
What about hornets?
So am I. I am the designated bug killer and remover in the house, which basically removal is after I kill them and throw them in the garbage can.
Another thing that's pretty bad. They're like a wasp, but we call them dirt daubers. They're a black colored wasp, is what they are.
That's our pilot. Yeah. Hey, Attila Vargo, you're saying that you need to put on a sock when you're in the bush? Have you seen a doctor about getting that treated and then maybe you don't need the sock? Good night, folks. We have our nastiest thing in this region. We do have occasional hornets and wasps, mud wasp and so forth, but yellow jackets are really bad in this area. And yellow jackets are the same thing. They'll burrow into the wood, and you can all of a sudden have this gigantic house. They'll get inside the wooden frame. Like we have an all brick house, but we had to have a yellow jacket colony removal because they got in to the flashing above my outer screen door and got into the woodwork and had just burrowed it over years. And then all of a sudden, one day, my daughter walked out the door and got stung by a couple of yellow jackets, and there were just bunches of them around, and we couldn't find their nest. And then we noticed they kept going up into the doorway, and that's when we had to call the exterminator. And he had to rip out the wood framing of the house. And say, oh, yeah, they're all in here. And in another year, they would have chewed their way in far enough that they would have chewed it through the drywall. So we had to do a lot of work in foam fill to get rid of them. Yeah, we have stink bugs here really big. We get stink bugs and then the Japanese beetles here. Also, those are major ones. What was Andy had something up here. Yeah, difficult to even look at spiders after seeing the movie The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. Indeed. Understood.
We got to shut down production here. We got an accident.
Oh, you got to shut down? You've had an accident?
Yep, I got to shut down.
Well, Hey, Andy Puff Candy Dobson, how are you?
Great. Oh, hold on a second. I gotta get a flashlight because I can't see. Here's the wreck.
Oh dear.
So the tank, and then we derailed back. This is the worst place to get the derailment because you can't see in there.
Well, that is one of the rules of model trains. It's sort of a Murphy's Law. Your train will derail in the most inconvenient place. It will stall or derail in the hardest to reach place.
Pretty much.
Which is
The only
why
one
this
going
layout is only 30 inches across, and we told I can lift the top off. Because I have had derailments in there.
When I built this layout, most of you have seen it, but I will do a quick wide tour of it. Where is it? Long view there. We'll go here. And we will just enlarge me for a second. When I built this table, I trusted too much to my height and reach. But then I got bigger and big. Originally I had a small laptop here, so it was no big deal to just reach over here. Now I've got this in the way, and I'm constantly knocking this sideways when I'm trying to reach something that I have to fix here. Now, fortunately, the number one problem I have here is my deer keep falling over, and I have to stand them back up.
That's probably one of the biggest and best layouts I've ever seen.
Oh, not the best. It's big. I will never argue big. It's just
it's a happy layout. I'll give you that.
It's a happy.
It reminds me of when you see
your
like
dad's layout is. It's not a competition. Your dad's layout is awesome and it's amazing. Mine is just a very nice end chaser. It's a big circle where part of the circle got pushed in. So
it reminds me of one like at a train show that you see.
Well, it was built with the idea. First of all, I was going to build 2 towns that I know in Germany. So that was the first thing. I was going to build 2 cities, Delmenhorst, which is the small town that I would live in when I was over in Germany, and then Bremen, which is the main train hub. And every train from Delmenhorst goes to one of 2 cities. If it goes east, it goes to Bremen. If it goes west, it goes to Oldenburg. You go west to Oldenburg, and then from there you either keep going west or you go north and south from Oldenburg, or you go to Bremen and you go north and east from Bremen. And if you're going to go south Germany, you either go to Oldenburg and go south, or you go all the way to Hanover and then go south if you're in Delmenhorst. Just depends on where you're going. If where you're going south is north of the Harz Mountains, then you'd go to Oldenburg and go that way. And if you're going to go through and go to central and southern Germany, then you go to Hanover and then go from there. But that's your 2 routes. So from Delmenhorst, you either go to Oldenburg and then go north, south, or west, or you go to Bremen and can go north, or continue on from Bremen to Hanover, where you would go north or keep going east, or do the deep south trip. Like if you're going to go to Munich or Frankfurt and all those places, you go to Bremen. So I got a mock-up of the Bremen station there, except the Bremen station actually has 14 train lines through it, 12 passenger and freight, 2 that are freight bypass only. And then Delmenhorst has 3 lines that come into the city, but the 3 lines about 1 mile to 2 miles outside the city of Delmenhorst, the 3 lines condensed down to 2. And so basically one is the east-west line, and the other one is the west to east line. So you have 2 lines that spread to 3 as you're coming in to accommodate all the traffic going around back and forth coming into Delmenhorst. But basically you have one line that is east-west between Hanover to a place called Norddeich-Mola, which is the main northern garage of all the trains in northern Germany. But yeah, all that. But so let's go back to that. But yeah, it's let's catch up with the chat. Oh, Andy, Hot Dog Pilot is taking off. Hopefully, I will be awake and catch
Hello,
your.
Top Junction.
See, Andy.
Hopefully, I will catch his live stream. Just I don't want to go too long tonight, and it's already 10 after. Artie's very good at it. Artie says he's only going to go an hour, and if he goes 5 minutes above the hour, that's about it. When he says, I come in with the idea, well, I'll try to go an hour, and then we're going 2 hours later because usually the talk gets interesting about 10 minutes before I think, okay, that's been an hour, and then the talk's really interesting, and I hate to call the talk off.
I'm the same way.
The longer it takes, the longer I keep the train. I have 3 trains.
Kiwi Dave's not here, and I didn't see him yesterday, but I would ask, because you're a former New Zealander, are the winters in New Zealand, even the South Island, relatively mild?
I have to shut all of the trains in the continental off to reach the back. I go back to the train. I can't see. Sorry, I'm trying to fix the vacuum still.
No problem. No problem.
It's like a very annoying spot.
Dirk, if you're getting an echo from all of us, it's you. If you're just getting an echo from Corey, it's Corey. Because I'm getting an echo from Corey.
It's probably me because there's a lot going on here.
Well, usually when you get a bit of an echo or the tin can effect, it's because you got 2 different mics going.
Well, I am talking to my friend Peyton on the other line on my other phone.
Okay, there you go. So that's okay. Because my feedback is no echo. Randall, even on earbuds, are you getting echoes from me?
No, it sounds good to me, Anthony.
Okay. And Mark was sounding good to me. Okay, it was your fault. Okay, sorry about that. Well, on the bright side, that solves the problems. I'm just getting a bit of a tin can echoey effect from Corey. We start sounding like adults in Charlie Brown cartoons. Yes, Miss Offmar.
I kind of hate that I'm the only guy here not running trains, but with no return date set, there was no date set for me to return. I don't know when I'm even going back.
I technically am not running trains. I showed trains, but I haven't run them.
Well, I mean, I'm the only guy without actually having trains.
But even if I have,
but yeah, anyhow, I was asking the former Kiwi, now lives in America, Dirk from Southern Cross Rail System, if winters are mild in New Zealand. I could also ask Monsville because she has family in New Zealand. They have family in New Zealand. Wairoa, one of the poorest towns in New Zealand. You lived in the North Island, so winters were mild there because you guys are very south, especially the South Island. Someday, Joyce might talk me. When we went to see Artie, one of our original plans was to go stop off at New Zealand on the way over, but it was just too expensive with the flights because they were basically charging full flight to go to New Zealand and then another full flight price to go to, and it basically would have doubled our flight. We couldn't afford it. We might be able to afford it more when Joyce retires. So our next trip to our next trip to that part of the world will be in 2025 is Germany, 2026 is the UK, and then 2027 we're going to do one more time down to the Southern Hemisphere, and it'll probably be our last, just because I don't enjoy that plane ride, and the next time we do, then I'll be getting really old and don't want to do that kind of long flight. Although, like I said, the drugs that my doctor gave me for my last couple of flights have actually really reduced the panic, almost to no panic. It's like I still have the thoughts in my head, but I don't start getting the shakes. But we want to stop because Joyce now wants to. Joyce's spoken plan ideas for our trip is that she wants to stop off and do either a week in Hawaii or Fiji and then on to Australia. And then she says on the way back, we could stop off at New Zealand and then, but that would be a very expensive series of flights unless somebody could book us a really good combination of it. But she wants to go to Australia in October. She wants to go down to that, sort of the springtime. It's the damp that gets you. Yeah, because we have dry. We actually have high humidity, but we don't. We rarely have the damp cold. We can have bitter cold, but it's usually not the damp cold. There are times where we get a lot of snow and the humidity's high outside, and I can get ice forming on my beard and mustache. Get little icicles dangling from your nose, or snot sickles.
Yeah, we rarely have that kind of cold down there where I live too, Anthony. It's kind of surprisingly dry during the winter, the dry type cold.
Okay. Because, see, I still picture, like, now you're down Missouri, Arkansas border area, and now you're in Kansas. And, of course, I still think of Kansas as cold, wintry plains. But I have no real concept. I have no real concept of what Missouri is weather-wise in the winter. And Arkansas, I tend to think, doesn't get a lot of snow, but I could be wrong. Maybe in the north.
We don't. We don't anymore. Southern Missouri, northern Arkansas doesn't get the snows like we used to many years ago. We do get like an ice storm every once in a while. Of course, Kansas does too. They had ice back on the I think it was the 5th, where they had some ice come in. It snowed on top of it, so.
Well, we ended our snow drought. We actually had an accumulated snowfall for the first time. We got an inch and a half of snow in January of 2024, and that was the only time we got an inch of snow in a a year and a half period, and we got total snowfall so far has been about 3.5 inches of snow in Toledo. And that's weird. Growing up as a kid in Toledo, you could expect 3 or 4 storms that would dump about 4 inches or more each, and usually one before Christmas. And now we never get snow before Christmas. Every now and then we'll have a snowfall on Halloween. We'll have Halloweens where the kids are in T-shirts and shorts, and then Halloweens where the kids are in their winter coats and boots because we've got a slushy snow on the ground. But we haven't had a white Christmas. Technically, we had a white Christmas 3 years ago because we got snow on Christmas. But to me, it's not a white Christmas if it didn't snow before Christmas, where there was snow on the ground Christmas Eve. Getting a snowfall Christmas Day afternoon isn't a white Christmas to me. It's the build up to Christmas. But we used to have them, I would say, at least every other year, half the time. And now it's like one snow Christmas, one white Christmas every 10 years, if we're lucky.
Yeah, we had a situation, I think, is back in 1999. where we had tornadoes one day, and then that, I guess it was like probably that night or the next morning, it was snowing. So, I mean, like, that's how rapidly the weather changes where I'm at. So, and, you know, talking about snow, I talked to my brother, I guess it's been about a week and a half ago now, whenever that last big snow went through. And they got like, I think when I talked to him then, they had like 8 inches or something like that. And that's the most snow they've had in forever. So.
Hey, welcome in, CLL. Nice to have you. Steve says, our 20 plows can't handle a white Christmas, but you have the mount, so you always have snow. Because you're up in the Seattle area, Steve. I didn't think Seattle tended to have very snowy winters other than in the mountains, but I didn't think Seattle itself tended to get snow. But, you know, most Americans will think of Seattle as a very cloudy and rainy city, but Toledo, I forget what the time period is, like from November 1st to April 1st, we're the cloudiest city in the United States. We just, like, the clouds come in to begin November, and then you get like maybe a day or two in December where you have sunshine, and then maybe a day or two in January, and then it's just clouds. And we used to have snow and clouds. Now it's just clouds, everything. And Toledo is just gray. It's just, we used to call them gray outs because sometimes you'd get a fog in the morning, and the buildings downtown are all gray. The sky is gray. The streets are gray. The trees are gray because they're all in their winter for it. It's just, everything's gray. That's why I love the snow, because the snow adds a freaking color.
Yeah.
Seattle averages less than 12 inches of snow a year. Yeah, Possum says you get a snow Steve says they get snow every 3 to 5 years. Where Possum's at, alligators. Don't have that problem in Toledo. We don't have alligators here. We don't have any really dangerous animals. The brown recluse is it as far as critters. We don't have rattlesnakes. We do not have any poisonous snakes in this region. We have one poisonous spider, and other than that, we do have is it coyotes? We have coyotes, foxes, because we have a huge deer population. I mean, I live in the city. I'm not in some gentrified suburb or country suburb. I am in the city. I'm in an urban area, a nice neighborhood urban area. But we had a herd of deer yesterday morning passing through before Joyce walked to work. We just standing there watching this huge herd of deer. And early in the morning, when I used to go to work and be at work by 6 o'clock, you could see foxes hanging out looking for the deer. There's definitely a coyote pack that lives in a park up here, and they hunt the deer.
What about bears?
What's that?
What about bears?
No, we don't have bears around here. There are some mountain lions, but they're at least a couple hours away from us to the east. When you start getting in the foothills of the Appalachians, but we don't have mountain lions in this region or bears. Like I said, we have no aggressive animals. We're in the Rust Belt of the United States. We're in a very urbanized area, although there's plenty of farmland around Toledo, of course, but it's all civilized or maybe inhabited. We're rural farming villages and then industrial cities. And so although we do have large wooded areas, Toledo actually is a very green city. We have all kinds of parks and trees everywhere, but not enough to support. And 10 years ago, we didn't even have coyotes. They have just started moving into the region again after not being here for well over 100 years. Rattlesnakes, when I was a little kid, they used to have what was called a rattlesnake pit at this one park on the river that is about a 10-minute bike ride from my house. But nobody catches rattlesnakes. There hasn't been a rattlesnake reported in Toledo in 50 some years.
See, down there where I live, we have copperheads, we got cottonmouths.
Yep.
Rattlesnakes.
Lovely. How venomous actually are copperheads?
All right, Monsville, thanks for hanging out with us. You take care.
I was like, Randall. Randall, how dangerous are copperheads?
What about the copperheads?
Yeah, how dangerous are they?
They can be fairly dangerous. I mean, especially the babies. The babies are actually more poisonous than the adults are.
Yeah. Now, which one is it? See, one of them is rather non-aggressive towards human, but one of them is very aggressive, and I can't remember which one's the nasty one, the copperhead or the cottonmouth.
I think it's the cottonmouth. If I remember what my dad used to tell me about, he said they would chase you if you tried to run from them.
Yeah, cottonmouths are just mean. See, rattlesnakes will warn you. Rattlesnakes do not want to bite you. They literally do not want to bite a human because they don't want to waste their venom on something they can't eat.
Yeah.
But they will defend themselves. So their bites are always very, just get off me now. I warned you, rattle, 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 rattle. I warned you, stay away from me, and you kept coming. So
a copperhead, you can just a copperhead, you can just about step on them and they won't do nothing.
Right. But cottonmouths, if you look at them from 50 yards away, they're like, "What you looking at, motherfucker?" And they come at you. They're like cottonmouths are just thugs.
Cottonmouths are extremely aggressive. And as their name suggests, when they open their mouth, it's white as snow.
Right.
And they have long fangs.
Because my mom is from the South, so we used to hear about the copperheads and the cottonmouths. And when they would run into one, the cottonmouths are the one. Rattlesnakes were okay, and copperheads, you didn't want to mess with copperheads, and the young ones are aggressive, but the older ones usually won't mess with you. But it was the cottonmouths that she used to talk about that. They just, cottonmouths, you looked at them funny, they came at you.
Yep. The cottonmouths also are...
Hey, Rick Strains, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks.
Are pretty poisonous too. They can be deadly.
They got pretty bad venom.
Yep.
Of course, every other continent has something worse. Australia's got some, what is it? Australia's got the second, third, and fourth most venomous snakes in the world. 3 of the top 5, 4 of the top 6, something like that. Yeah, possum. That's. All right, Pete, thanks for hanging out with us. It was awesome because it is late where you are. It is 2:30 a.m. where you're at. So the Canadians are starting to fall asleep. We bored them to bed. But I think my mom used slightly terser language. I think my mom used slightly terser language when she described them. People are making deals there. I might consider another full Roco Railjet for a 46. He says just the 46 is enough. Oh, and coral snakes. Right. There's another one. And the king snake has a striping pattern very similar to the coral snake, which it evolved so that people would think it's a coral snake and not mess with it. But the king snake is non-venomous and the coral snake is.
And also the king snake eats the venomous snakes.
Yeah.
Too.
And again, I don't like in Toledo, we have garter snakes and hognose. Those are, and blue racers, although blue racers are harder and harder to find.
The blue racers are also tasty too.
Yep, but blue racers are rats. They're mice and rat eaters. So are the garter snakes and hognose snakes. Although hognose would also eat turtles. But yeah, the garter snakes. It was my mom would always say, "Leave them alone. They eat the mice and the rats. Leave them alone." Now, if we had one in the backyard, it was catch it and take it to a field near our house and set them back loose there. But yeah, we could occasionally go out in the backyard. Mom, there's a snake in the yard. And I had a sister that was not scared of anything, and she'd just run out there and grab it. Yeah, look at him. He's okay.
I'm going to head out.
Okay, Corey.
All right. See you, Corey.
Thanks
for letting me come in. I appreciate it.
Thanks for showing us your father's layout. That was really cool looking.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I know he does too.
Tell him he got an A+ for all of us.
I will. Thanks. See, my friend Peyton says bye too.
Bye, Peyton.
Hey, Peyton.
I'm just pretending I'm talking to Peyton Manning, you know. Bye, Peyton. Nice career. Hey there, Chase Railways. Railway lines are. Welcome in, welcome in. But you have lizards here that have no, I forget exactly what it's called, but yeah, legless lizards. They're not a snake, but they look like a snake, the legless lizards. But, you know, that area down there along the Gulf of Mexico, and yes, I'm going to call it the Gulf of Mexico. Down along the Gulf Coast, there's all kinds of interesting critters in that region. You know, it's not nearly as big. You know, Australia, of course, because it is an isolated continent, it has its own unique fauna. But, you know, technically so does North America. We just don't, you know, Australia doesn't have the large predatory animals. They have predatory reptiles and bugs, you know, arachnids or insects. But other than the old Tasmanian devil, and what's the other one that they keep saying is the Tasmanian tiger or something like that? That they claim is extinct, but people say actually they think there might be small hidden breeding stock because people will claim they saw it. Tasmanian tiger. Okay, I had it right. The Tasmanian tiger. They claim it's extinct, but people in Tasmania claim every now and then they saw one, and the scientists say, no, they're extinct. And people say, I know what I saw. But the scientists go in and don't find anything that suggests they're there. It's almost like Bigfoot. Yeah, they don't have. So in America, we do have poisonous snakes, but we don't have the nasty brown snakes and everything else. But we do have brown bears and grizzly bears and mountain lions, cougars, wherever you are, what you call them. Pumas.
There's 59. They're running absolutely lovely. All of a sudden, it just started derailing for no apparent reason.
Uh-oh. It seems to be spreading. Maybe I'm glad I didn't run my trains. I started my live stream off yesterday with, and the thing is, I was running my biggest locomotive on a narrower curve, and it was buffer bumping with the car behind it. And, you know, I had somebody I don't know was in there. Oh, you should put some weight in the car and all that stuff. I said, no, that pulls those cars fine. It was buffer bumpy. Because notice once I took the big guy off, that was, and I've run it on the tight radius, but I ran it with the freight, with the container wagons, not that set of cars. And those cars have long buffers on them, the bumpers on them. They just, no matter how wide a gap I was putting with the couplers, it would go around that curve and bump bumpers. But I put on a different one that had shorter buffers on it, and it handled it just fine, and everything settled down. The Australian cattle dog, and you got dingoes. But yeah, we got alpha predators in North America. Obviously, nothing like all the big cats and of course Australia has alligators, we have alligators, but the salt crocs or the salt alligators in Australia are really nasty. The Australian ones, a lot of people lose their poodles to them.
Yeah, Aussie crocodiles are something else.
Well, they are a very successful species. They were around at the time of the dinosaurs, and they're still around. Although technically dinosaurs are still around too. All you got to do is look out your window and you see them. They're birds. Birds are dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to. Let's see what somebody's talking about in an area I know. The UP of Michigan does have bears. That's right, they do. They've got black bears, right? The UP has black bears. They still have breeding stock of black bears up in the UP. I haven't been in the UP in 20 years. It's been a long time since I was up in the UP. Joyce and I and the kids went to Quantum Falls up in the UP, and it's been a long time since I've been towards Ironton, Michigan. That probably has been before I met Joyce, since I've been to Ironton, Michigan, which is way over towards the Wisconsin border. You're talking about the old ladies across the road. No, I don't worry about. That was a joke somebody made, and they said only a few Australians, like Sydney, had the dangerous cougars of back in the 2000s, and like 3 people or whatever in the chat got the joke, and everybody else was, there were cougars in Sydney? What? But apparently this beach near Sydney was famous for wealthy divorcee or widowed old ladies looking for young meat men to hook up with.
I think we just lost Mark.
Yeah, up in northwest area of Wisconsin with black bears and cougars. Yeah. There are cougars supposedly coming down. There have been cougar sightings in western Michigan, supposedly. So people are saying we might start seeing cougars in this region, but I don't think so. And that would scare the crap out of this. People would be out hunting.
Mm-hmm. I know they're out there where I'm at, but...
Attila says those Sydney cougars got way too picky. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Attila. None of them want you. You put that Speedo on and they just won't go for you. On the flip side, with that big hairy body and beard, Attila, I know a few men that would go for you.
I ain't touching that.
You may not have cougars, but there are some bear hunters out there that would go for you. My brother used to educate me in the gay culture. My brother is gay, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, don't go there, geez. Sorry, we already went there, parked the car, and set up the tent. Yeah. Oh, Mark is back. He dropped out, and I wasn't paying attention to the basement. Mark is back, and we have a new view. The new view review.
Oh, but yeah, Streamlabs dropped out for some bizarre reason.
I blame the weather, bad electrical work, and the commies.
More than likely, it's probably something to do with...
That is a joke, and some people catch it on my live stream at times. I'll get mad at something and go, I blame the commies. That is a joke that goes back. We picked it off the TV show MASH. Colonel Flag from the TV show MASH, and my friends and I became a catchword in high school. We were just always doing it because we were all MASH. We were all MASH fans in high school, and everything was the commies.
I mean, it was set in the Korean War, but where was it filmed?
Yeah, the show lasted 11 years, and the Korean War lasted 2.5.
Yeah. Where exactly was it filmed though?
It was filmed in California.
Yeah, I saw a picture on Facebook of one of the old sets. Actually, I say it's more like what's left of it, which isn't much, but it's pretty neat.
Well, we are hitting carnival time. I forget when. I think Easter is still. I mean, Easter in 2024 was one of the latest it's ever been, and we keep waiting for it to go back earlier because it kills Joyce's school year, because you have this long break from really, you have President's Day off. You have President's Day off is your only day off in between. We have Martin Luther King Day off, and then President's Day off. And then you'd have the longest haul of the school year where you don't have a day off is President's Day to Easter. And the problem is Easter's been so late and our school years end earlier now that you'd have Easter, you come back for 2 weeks and the kids' brains are, oh, in 2 weeks we're on Christmas vacation or we're on summer vacation. We don't have to do any more work. And Joyce is like, no, we got to keep working, guys. We got all this work we got to get done by the end of the school year. And, there's so much stuff that would interfere with teaching. Like, I used to teach out of this one textbook, and in 1 year I could get through 10 chapters when I started. And by the end of my career, I could not finish chapter 8 because there are so many things that interrupted, so much testing and pullouts, and we're doing this special program, and we're having the kids stay home so we can beat you teachers over the head with how you suck in services and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, when do I teach? When do I teach? Because there are so many interruptions that everybody puts into the school year now. And like I said, I would get through chapter 10 when I started teaching this subject. And by the time I retired, I was lucky to get halfway through chapter 8. And it was so annoying because this whole week we're testing the kids. So the kids come in and test and then they go home. All the state standardized testing. And then you got so many, we're doing this program, this Say No to Drugs program, this Avoiding Teenage Pregnancy program, and this program, and this program. And we're going to bring in this group to talk to us about this, and this. And okay, we're going to do a bullying program and this, and this. And they just constantly pulling the kids away. And then I taught a subject that was not considered important. So they would often start, we need to talk to these kids, but we'll wait till they're in Dodge's class and then pull them out. So I would say, I can't teach today because they just pulled half my class out. So even it wasn't a whole school thing, I would have a bunch of these students that were part of this one group, and they would say, today we're going to pull the kids out second period. Why? Because half of them are in Dodge's German class, and that's not important. Well, so the other half would be there. What are we doing today, Mr. Dodge? Apparently nothing.
I remember at my old school, we didn't even have internet till I was, I think, in 6th grade, maybe 7th grade. So this would be like 97 or 98. So it was a big thing. We got internet there.
Because I taught so many subjects in my career. I started as an English teacher, and I also taught history and various things connected with English, like drama, speech, reading, and then I started teaching German because one day somebody said, "Hey, Dodge, we saw you got a degree in German." Yeah, well, I teach French and German, and I don't want to teach German anymore. Would you want to take over the German program? I was like, sure. And I started with so I taught half a day of English and half a day of German because they didn't have a lot of kids in the German program, but there were enough to keep the classes going. But after 2 years of me doing it, they said, "Hey, you've really got this German buzzing. There's a full-time German job at this school in the southern part of town, which happened to be the school my kids were about to start at." It was like, "Would you like to go and teach full-time German there?" And you know, it meant I would walk to work because it was literally across the street from this house. Okay, across the street, a 3-minute walk. So yeah, I will walk to work, and I'll get a chance to teach my kids. So yeah, I moved here, and I built this huge program, and we were in the paper all the time for all the public service stuff we were doing. And then we started the exchange program, and that got a lot of publicity and press. You know, Bowser German students do this, Bowser German students do that, accomplish this. Bowser students get recognized for this. Bowser students are on German TV program, blah, blah. So we got a lot of big publicity, good publicity. So I earned a lot of capital. I earned a lot of influential capital at Bowser for a few years, where if I wanted something, somebody would get it for me. If I needed a certain thing for my classroom, somebody worked it out to make sure it happened. But then as my program died out and ended before I retired, all of a sudden that I wasn't winning them good press anymore. And so CAD was taught on an Etch-a-Sketch. Hogan's Heroes was under Burbank and Venice airports. Yep. Most of that stuff was filmed just on Hollywood lots. I mean, there's forests just outside of LA. There's deserts and mountains outside. The funniest thing is there are movies, old, cheap Roger Corman sci-fi movies. Like there's, what is it? The Beginning of the End, which is where giant grasshoppers take over are taking over the United States. And it's supposedly occurring. Well, the final battle is in Chicago. Real cheap special effects, but they're, they have the American Army driving through the mountains west of Chicago. There are no mountains near Chicago. There's mountains in the background, and the troops are, it's like, that is so not Illinois. That is. But it was just, because everything's filmed in the backlots of Chicago.
Well,
and a lot
like
of episodes from the 50s and 60s were filmed at the Spahn Ranch, which is where the Manson family eventually hung out in the 60s after it fell into disrepair and they weren't filming the movies there anymore. But the cowboy movies would still come out to Spahn Ranch and rent horses, and some of the cowhand workers, when they weren't working at movies, would work at Spahn Ranch. But you can see in a lot of movies and go, oh yeah, that's Spahn Ranch where the Manson family were living when they did their famous murders in the 60s. Yeah, Attila. Yeah, and the same thing. I was at the York Museum, and they had a bunch of coaches there. This coach here was seen and just had a list of the movies these coaches were in. You go to these different coaches. This train, this locomotive was seen in this movie, this movie, this movie. This coach was used in this TV show, this soap opera, this, mostly UK, but some were American, movies that would be made in America. So there was a lot of that. Now, you would know this, Rick, but there was a movie about 15 years ago with Hugh Jackman, the guy that played Wolverine in the X-Men movies. It was a robot fighting movie, Real Steel, I think was called. Anybody know that movie, Real Steel, where Hugh Jackman plays a former actual boxer who got into robot. They stopped human boxing because it was too brutal, and it became robot boxing, and Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and he controlled robots in fighting, and he was down on his luck and things were going bad. But a lot of the scenes in that were filmed in the Toledo area. They actually filmed it. My late brother-in-law was an extra. He's seen in the crowd fight during the big climax fight, and he's also seen in the one fight that is supposedly taking place at the abandoned Detroit Zoo, where it's it's the underground fight where he goes and does one of his first fights. There's either a derailment or there is a very busy woodpecker somewhere.
Yeah, I think my 59 has decided to pick something up in the bogey.
Oh, that's right, too. Yeah, they had a 3 days where the Amtrak station was off limits to anybody but passengers, and they restricted the line stopping in Toledo. I remember that now. Rick, I had forgotten about it. Well, yeah, Seattle gets films in it all the time. Now, my favorite one was that the first several Avengers-related movies, all the New York scenes were filmed in Cleveland, Ohio. The Battle of New York in the first Avengers movie was Cleveland, Ohio. The big underground base that Loki takes over in the Avengers, that was a science lab place in Cleveland, Ohio. But Real Steel was the one that they came to Toledo and filmed a lot of it here. And Toledo made a big deal about it. They're filming a movie in Toledo. Because otherwise, Toledo's only had a few famous entertainers. One of the guys in the Cars was born and raised in Toledo, the band The Cars. And then, of course, Jamie Farr from MASH. Klinger was from Toledo. The famous 50s and 60s American entertainer Danny Thomas, which isn't his real name, was born and raised in Toledo. He and they both have family still in Toledo. Jamie Farr has grandnieces and grandnephews and cousins that all live in Toledo still. Yeah, Rudy was filmed in South Bend. Well, yeah. Sorry to say it, John Benicki, but Rudy was so fictionalized. And the real Rudy was actually a real jerk. But I won't say any more about that because most of you don't give a darn. But you see, John Benicki is from North or South Bend, Indiana, home to a famous university called Notre Dame. I am from the state of Ohio, home to a very famous university called Ohio University. And last Monday, Notre Dame played Ohio State in the second most important football game in the United States after the Super Bowl. So, like, the Super Bowl is the big final game for professional American football. And then the college football national championship is the next level down. So it's still a huge championship. And Ohio State beat Notre Dame. Actually, they were trouncing Notre Dame, and then they kind of let up and let Notre Dame think they could get back in the game. But yeah, it was 31-7 at one point, or 34-7 at one point, and then Ohio State was like, okay, we've beaten the crap out of them enough. We proved our point. And then all of a sudden it was 31-23, and then Ohio State kicked the field goal to make it 34-23. But Ohio State won the national championship over Notre Dame.
I was at a Love's truck stop, and they had the Ohio State, I think it's Indiana college basketball game, and it was tied at the time. And I was going to message you to tell you, I said, I didn't know if he was watching it, and I said, yeah, it's getting pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was 31-7. It finished 34-23 because Notre Dame got within 31-23, and then Ohio State decided, maybe we should pass once, and threw a 65-yard pass and then kicked a field goal to put the game away.
Well, this was basketball, Anthony. It was, I think when I left Love's, it was tied 71-71.
Okay. Yeah. Ohio State wound up. The Ohio State basketball is a joke right now. The men's team, the women's team is very good, but the men's team, it's sort of like international soccer. Everybody laughs at America as a soccer because our men's team sucks, and they seem to ignore the fact that our women's team keeps winning world championships. It's. I've had some ancillary dealings with the American men's soccer program. And there's a reason why our men's team is never good. And it's not because guys in America can't play football. It's because the system to make the national team has nothing to do with talent. It has everything to do with at young ages, they get signed by corporations for sponsorships. And then the U.S. Soccer Association has Nike, Toyota, and everything say, this guy has a contract with us. He better play. Yeah, but he's sucking and he never passes the ball. We don't care. He plays or we don't give you any money. All right, he plays. It's pay for play on the men's team, and the women's team is now getting that way. But for a long time, people ignored. So the women's national team could pick the best female athletes who can play soccer, and they played true team soccer. The American men, it's always you take the 20 guys with the best contracts, and each guy goes out there and he's the star of the show. And he doesn't care if that guy's wide open for a shot. I'm going to get the shot. Yeah, there's 3 defenders in front of me and that guy's wide open, but it's about me because I've got to get the big contract. So maybe somebody in the Premier League or the Spanish Primera or Eredivisie or La Liga in Italy, the top leagues in Europe, will recognize them and give them the big contract. So the egos just get ridiculous. Steve, that's not the case. Girls in Germany, Australia, they play soccer their entire lives just like the boys. There's not a, they don't let the women play in other countries. Those women have been playing soccer. It's just that in the United States, we started a program that was about working as a team, and we borrowed the European system of play, whereas the American men's team is all about the kids with the biggest contracts, biggest sponsorships get to play even if they don't work well as a team.
That's why the UK soccer team kept getting bounced in the World Cups.
But yeah, well, the UK is come on better as a women's team, but of course the men's team hasn't really fared any better in World Cups than the American team has, other than
because we have 11 players playing 11 games. Germany has 11 players playing 1 game.
Well, the thing with Germany, for example, is Germany, all the guys tend to play in the German Bundesliga, but the German national team practices together more often and has a consistent lineup. Same thing.
So when they play as one team.
UK has a similar problem to the United States, which is it's the biggest names play. I mean, David Southgate, he finally had a nice run in the Euro, but he has his guys that play that you go, that dude should not be playing. He's not that. There's somebody sitting the bench that's better than the dude playing, but because this guy has a contract with this squad and this, it becomes the guys that have the bigger contracts get play.
Exactly.
And so it's a crappy system. Plus, the British guys go to, most of the British guys stay in the Premier League, but a lot of them go to La Liga or go to the Premier, or look at Harvey Kane. He's bounced back and forth between, and I think Harvey Kane's heavily overrated. And the other dude that was so big for Leicester a few years ago, he moved to the Spanish league, so they don't even play on the same turf, and they don't practice a lot together. The American team rarely practices. The American team, you'll have these 20 guys that play a bunch of games together, and then the big tournaments come, and there's 15 new guys because they're the big names, and they didn't play in all the little tournaments. In Germany, it's the same 20 guys play in every tournament. So these guys play together all the time, and then they see each other in their professional league. And the Brits, not the Americans are worse, but the English team, the English national team, has that issue. Wales has good players, but they just don't have a big enough population to base. America has a big enough population base to put top teams out there. But yeah, it's definitely it's a quagmire. That's why certain countries in the men's world seem to just consistently dominate. France has had a good run, although I think France gets away with some stuff, but that's a different story. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, it is 10 o'clock, and we have talked trains, and we have talked soccer, and we have talked spiders and snakes. We've talked lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my.
Mm-hmm. We talked about everything.
We've had quite a gamut of stuff.
Yep.
But it is 10 o'clock, and I'm a little surprised Joyce did not come down and remind me that it's getting close to time. But she's probably waiting for me to log off before she does any more laundry.
Mm.
Yeah, there's that, Attila. So anyhow, on that note, Randall, thanks for coming up and hang out. Mark, it was nice to see your layout running. And thank you to Corey, who showed us his father's amazing layout and came in. That was awesome to have. I do believe we are back on Artie's channel next week, so we will have the Thunder from Down Under, my brother from another mother from Down Under.
I'll try to be there next week if I ain't working. So,
although Artie and I can go offline and share horror stories about moms, but that's a different story. Nobody here from South Africa yet. Yeah, but we did mention them. We talked about mountain lions. Okay, not lions, but technically they are a lion because they're called a mountain lion, right? If they're called a lion. I had that. Somebody says, that's not a double slipple. That's what it says on the box. If they call it, that must be what it is. But of course, that's not always true. There are certain things called this that are not really that, but that's the name they gave it. But be that as it may, we could go here babbling on for another. So I'm going to thank everybody for hanging with us. I want to wish you all a good night. Take care of yourselves. All of you who have been here, if you're still watching on Makeup, those of you fighting the battles, keep fighting those battles. Don't give up. Every day you wake up is a victory. So hang in there and make sure we know that you're doing all right, or let us know that you're not doing all right. That's what we're here for. That's why we're a community. So take care.
See you all next week.
Bye, Bonds. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Mm.